Hi, I'm Joe, and this is Anachronic.
Okay, stop, please. Your half-hearted attempt at doing an introduction is making me queasy. It's hurting me, son.
Who are you?
Who am I? Who am I? The fact that you don't know who I am is indicative of the fact that you can't speak English. My name is Jeremy Farrelly, son, and I am the speech coach to the stars.
Okay, what do you want with me?
Well, I am here to help you if you want, son. I'm here to help you.
All right, what do you suggest?
Well, I suggest that you use some verb. Some verb. Come from the gut. Give me some energy, son. Try it.
Okay, I'm Joe, and
Son, is English your first language? Because you certainly don't know how to speak it. Try again. Give me some energy. Come from the heart.
I'm Joe. This is Anachronic.
Better. Try it again, and this time let's hit a home run.
Anachronic Comics.
You got it, son. Another success for the coach to the stars. Yes.
Oh, thank you, Jeremy.
Well, listen, it's Mr. Farrelly to you, son, but you're welcome. And now go out and do it. Do it. See you later, son.
All right, bye. I'll do it. Hi, I'm Joe, and this is Anachronic Comics.
Anachronic.
Hi. In a prior video, you heard me say that the bulk of my Silver Age comic collection came from when I was a kid and that I bought them. You also heard me say that I called them the comics my mom let me keep collection. I'm here to tell you why I call it that. Well, I call it that because back in the 1950s and 60s, I grew up in Manhattan, in the Big Apple, Times Square, Broadway, all that type of stuff, Central Park. That's where I grew up. In 1969, my parents decided to buy a house in Staten Island, still part of New York City, but one of the outer boroughs. Now, why Staten Island? Because that's where we went for vacations. One of my aunts had what they called a bungalow near the beach. But starting in the late 50s, one by one, my uncles and aunts started moving to Staten Island permanently. So in 1969, I think we were the last ones. We moved to Staten Island. Now, as part of that move, I was told by my parents that I had to get rid of some stuff. So I had a bunch of things in my room that I wanted to keep, but I was not allowed to do it. Now, by that time, I was a freshman in college also. So a lot of what was important to me as a kid and growing up had less importance. So when it got to the comics, my parents asked me, my mom especially asked me, well, can you get rid of some of the comics so you don't have to bring them with you? I mean, you're older now, you don't need them. Because remember, in that time, comics were made for young boys, basically. That's who bought them. It's not like today when you go to the comic book shop, to your local comic book shop, you see adults there, basically, and very few younger people. At that time, it was all us youngins that were buying the comics. So although I felt a little queasy, I didn't really want to do it, I did. I decided to pick a number of comics to keep and to bring with me to Staten Island. And what I did primarily, but not exclusively, is look for comics that had multiple heroes on the covers. And that's why to this day I'm still trying to finish up Volume 1 of Justice League of America. That was the main thing that I brought with me. But there were some other ones that I brought that were simply single hero comics. To this day, I'm not sure why I did that with some of them, but I think for the most part, they still had multiple heroes involved. And one or two of them may have slid in because I didn't notice or I just picked them up. So how many comics did I have when I was there? There's really no way to tell, but I'm estimating it was somewhere between 400 and 500 comics, and that I probably bought about 150 to 200 with me to Staten Island. So what I want to do today is to start going over some of them, and I decided to take a look at The Flash. I didn't know how many comics I might have kept for The Flash, but I went through the couple of long boxes that I have, and I came up with 6. There might be some other ones in there that I didn't see, but I think this might be the extent of it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go through each one, show you what I've got, and tell you a little bit about the background of the particular comic. But I'm going to do it in reverse chronological order, and you'll see why when I get to the last one, which is the oldest Flash comic that I have. So the first one is this one. It's Flash 170. This comes from May 1967. The See Nothing Spells of Abracadabra. So Abracadabra escaped from a jail in the future and came back. He was a magic guy. And what he did was he put a spell on the Flash to make him deaf, dumb, and blind to evil. So all this stuff was going around and he didn't see anything. Well, how did he get out of it? Well, coming over from Earth 2 was the Earth 2 Flash. The Earth 2 Flash, Dr. Midnight, and Dr. Fate. And so they came here, they helped alleviate him of this spell. He got to see Abracadabra, caught him, end the story. So that is Flash 170 from May 1967. Going back in time here, you see now that I've got Flash 168. This comes from March 1967. And you notice there are two heroes on the cover, which is probably why I kept this one. So this one, GL disappears. And lo and behold, instead of looking for them themselves, which I could never understand, one of the Guardians of the Universe comes to Earth and asks the Flash to help them find Green Lantern. There's some scientists from the future there, super weapons, that type of thing. So the Flash finds Green Lantern. If I remember correctly, I think he lost his memory, but I'm not sure about that. In this case, he gets his memory back, I think, and knows he's Green Lantern, and they catch the bad guy. The next one is a key. Flash 165. This one comes from, at least the cover is November. This is November 1966. So in this one, Barry Allen eventually does marry Iris West. And as you see on the cover, there's the Flash trying to stop Barry Allen from marrying Iris West. And the reason for that is that the Barry Allen here is not the real Barry Allen, surprise. It's actually Professor Zoom, who came back and actually took Barry's place. And I'm not sure why he wanted to marry Iris, although she is a good-looking woman. So in any event, that's what happened here. Now, one thing that's interesting about this comic is when the Flash comic started, he started in Showcase, right? And it was the start of the Silver Age. At least his first appearance in Showcase is considered to be the start of the Silver Age. He went into his own comic, taking over the numbers, I believe, from the original Flash, because it started in number 105 with his own comic in 1959. Carmine Infantino drew every cover up until this one. All right. So in this one, Murphy Anderson drew the cover. And the reason why, at least as it's been told, is that Carmine Infantino had some kind of an accident, hurt his eye, and couldn't draw for a while. So Murphy Anderson stepped in and did this cover for him. So Barry's wedding picture was not done by Carmine Infantino, but by Murphy Anderson. Next one, and I really don't know why I kept this, except the story, the second story. This is one of these comics. This is a Flash 158, right? Yeah, 158, which was in February of 1966. All right, I'm just looking at my notes to make sure I get it right. So in this, there were actually two stories in this one. The breakaway bandit was some guy who could come apart, so it was hard for Flash to catch him because he kept on breaking apart and Flash couldn't touch him. Fine. But there's a second story. And back in the Silver Age, back in the 60s, quite often the stories are only 8 pages to 10 pages long, and there often were 2 stories in each one. So this one happens to have 2 stories. The second one is called the One-Man Justice League. And what happened was Professor Ivo developed some kind of a virus or infusion type of thing that he gave to himself, which allowed him to mimic the Justice League, all right, which is why I kept this one, I believe. But he had to use Flash's aura, energy aura, to do it. So every time he did it, the Flash would also change into a different Justice League character. So that was kind of interesting because the Justice League was part of it, but they weren't really the Justice League. It was either Professor Ivo or was Flash. So this again was from February 1966. Okay, next to last one. Again, two heroes on the cover. And Flash used to team up quite a bit with Hal Jordan, Green Lantern, back in the day. So this is Flash number 143, and the cover date is March of 1964. So in this one, the Flash and Green Lantern are challenged by three duplicates of the Green Lantern. They're evil, of course, and so the Flash and the Green Lantern have to team up to be able to defeat them. Now, this happens to be a key also, and the key is it's the first appearance of T.O. Morrow. All right, or Tomorrow, right? But T.O. Morrow. And T.O. Morrow was an evil scientist who was born in the 1930s. He was Polish. He has a Polish name, which don't ask me to pronounce. And in the Golden Age, he put together this Red Tornado, at least ideally was in the Golden Age. I'm not sure if the story was back then, to try to destroy the Justice Society of America. Then here in the current day, he does the same thing, and he tries to destroy the Justice League of America. He took odd pieces of Red Tornado, which had been torn apart, put them back together again. Of course, Red Tornado had was not really an evil character, became a good character and all that type of stuff, so he couldn't go through with destroying either the Justice Society of America or the Justice League of America. So this was the first Silver Age appearance of T.O. Morrow. So that was a key comic. Now, down to the last one, and you'll see why I kept the last one. There was one significant comic that came out in September of 1961, and this is it. It's significant because it was the basis for what we call the multiverse. So arguably, without this comic, there never would be a multiverse. And the comic is The Flash 123 from September 1961. So what was the story here? So Iris was putting together some sort of a charity benefit for orphans. She was supposed to get a magician to come in and do magic tricks. The magician didn't show. So Barry, Iris at that time didn't know that Barry was the Flash. So Barry says, well, don't worry about it, Iris. I think I can get a hold of the Flash and he can come over here and entertain the kids. So the Flash comes over to entertain the kids, does a lot of things with his super speed, which looks like magic. Kids are enjoying it. As he's doing one of the tricks, he's vibrating a certain way, and suddenly finds that he's elsewhere. Doesn't know where he is. He goes over to the, I guess, a newsstand, picks up a newspaper and finds out he's in Keystone City, I think it was called. He realizes from his childhood, when he read comics that were written by Gardner Fox, that Keystone City was where the Flash lived, the original Flash, Jay Garrick. So he gets really excited. He goes to a phone book. He looks through the phone book. He sees that there is a Jay Garrick. He goes to the house. He finds Jay and his wife, Joan, and says to them, I know who you are. I know what your secret identity is, because I'm the Flash too. I'm from another Earth, whatever else, whatever. So Jay at first doesn't quite believe him, but he gets convinced when he sees that Barry has all this super speed stuff going on. Now, Jay had retired, but tells Barry that there's been a slew of evildoers coming in, and he's been thinking of coming out of retirement. So Barry decides he's going to help him. And interestingly, the super criminals involved there were the Fiddler, the Thinker, and the Shade. Now, I say that's interesting because in the Stargirl TV show, two of the three Injustice Society members made appearances there. Now, the Fiddler was not really the original one, but was his wife. So the original one apparently had passed away. She meets her maker a little bit later on in the series as well. But the other one is somebody who comes in at the end because he had been kicked out of the Injustice Society and looks like he's going to be a significant bad guy in season number 2, and that's the Shade. So they make appearances here. So again, this is a key issue because it's the first appearance of the Golden Age Flash. It is the multiverse concept comes into play, and it's the first time that they come up with the idea of an Earth 2 where the Golden Age heroes lived. So very significant. Now, unfortunately, because this could be worth like thousands of dollars, this is not in the best of shape. If you take a look at it, you can see, it's worn around the sides and all that. This is probably the worst shape Flash comic that I have. So it leads me to believe that because of its significance, it probably made its rounds among my friends to read. I think I bought it, but maybe I didn't. Maybe somebody else gave it to me, or maybe they lent it to me and I never gave it back to them. I don't know. But to this day, I've got it now. I'm happy I have it, no matter what the shape that it is in. So, anyway, so the comics my mom let me keep collection. This is the first set of books that I'm showing. It's the Flash, going in reverse order, May of 1967 and going backwards to Flash 123 in September of 1961. So if you enjoyed this video, please give me a thumbs up. Also, consider subscribing and hitting the little bell there so you get notifications of when I upload a new video. So I'll wrap this up now. Thanks a lot for watching, guys, and I'll see you again.